So I'd say now would actually be a pretty good time to address the Kilted Ambassador segment that we like to do around the middle of the show.
Ooh.
All right. I am beyond help. Our Kilted Ambassador this time around, ladies and gentlemen, is the incomparable Seanachán Ó Cinnéide. Jonathan is a school teacher, public school, secondary school in Massachusetts, and he has been for some time. He's done engineering and earth sciences and things like that. He has been a folk music musician, Irish folk music, he and his wife, since at least the 1990s. Grew up with his mom playing piano, and then in the 90s he fell in love with basically Uilleann Pipes and playing the bodhrán. He started on bodhrán. And this is actually how he met his wife, which is a thing I remember from talking to him, that they actually met because she was a fiddle player, as I recall. So they met through music. The power of music brought them together. Now, basically, the other passion in Jonathan's life is Gaelic, Irish Gaelic. He and his wife are both Gaelic speakers, and they got into that back in the early 2000s and started learning. He started learning from a local instructor in the States. But it got to be such a passion, he found more and more teachers, and it got to be such a thing that people started encouraging him and his wife to go to Ireland to learn formally. They went and studied at the National University of Ireland in Galway, and came away from it with master's degrees in Irish Gaelic after a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, as he puts it. And now they both teach at local schools and universities in their area. They have a website for the where you can contact them about Gaelic lessons. I think we had the URL for that that we could show on screen, I think. And we had the result of this is that his high school where he teaches is the only school in the Western Hemisphere that actually offers Gaelic as a credit-worthy course in the course catalog. So you can actually be a student at the high school and take Gaelic. Which is unheard of, for most people. It's like it's Spanish or German or whatever. So that's basically on a personal level. That's Jonathan. As for kilts, some of you may know him as the guy who wears the Great Kilts casually and posts photos about it in the Kilts and Culture group. Jonathan is in love with a kilt from a practical standpoint. He likes to try and emulate how it might have been worn by common people back in the day, meaning 16th through 18th century. And so he's been fascinated with the Great Kilt and wearing that and how to adapt that to modern life, although he doesn't wear it teaching. It's basically casual wear. And more recently, he's interested in the filibeg, like the minimally tailored, minimally sewn little kilt from the 18th century.
Okay.
His philosophy is basically, I've always been interested in the connections between people and the natural environment and how people adapt successfully to the natural world around them. And so that's what's led to him doing a lot of the experimentation he's done fashion-wise with kilts. And it's been a huge benefit to the community. I think it's gotten a lot of people into using great kilts and stuff for fun. It's funny because he didn't think he was going to get into kilts originally because he doesn't have any direct Scottish connection. But he played with he got like a utility kilt mocker back in the day.
Okay.
Wore it a couple times, didn't like it, left it in the closet, and then he and his wife sometime later were playing at a friend's wedding in Ireland, I believe, but they were Scottish, or it was a Scottish wedding. He said everybody at the wedding was in a kilt. He was the only guy in pants, and one of his friends afterwards was like, "Hey, why don't you wear a kilt? You should try wearing a kilt." And he's like, "Well, I don't have any Scottish in me." And this guy, who was a Scotsman, said to him, "Well, you don't have to be American to wear denim, and you don't have to be from Spain to speak Spanish. You could wear a kilt if you want to." And he's like, "Huh, okay." And then he came back home to Massachusetts with the hot, humid summers here, and he thought, you know what? Kilts are probably actually a really good idea for the environment. So he started off with modern utility kilts and evolved into doing the traditional thing from there.
Nice.
So his advice to newbies, which I really like. This is very good advice. Number one, benefit from the community, whether it's online or in person. Go and check out other people's outfits and then decide what you like from what they wear and adopt it. Basically, decide what rocks your world, because there's lots of examples. Become familiar with the kilt, its tradition and cultural background. Then once you have a grasp of all that, then accept or reject the parts that you don't like. Get to know the whole thing first, and then make your selections based on that knowledge. Just enjoy making yourself look good. He said that for him, it's been a constant confidence booster. He loves the reactions he gets from people when he's wearing a kilt. He considers himself kind of a shyer person, actually. And so he really likes the fact that people will chat with him, even people he doesn't know. So he says, don't be shy because you're going to get attention. He says, as far as rude comments are concerned, you got to be the adult in the room. Even if somebody says something rude, like, hey, buddy, nice skirt, just kind of like, hey, thanks. Blow it off. Move on. And finally, he said basically, he loves the compliments he gets. Like, he said one of the funniest compliments he ever got was in a supermarket, and some big metal dude from across the way was like, whoa, that was the most metal thing ever. And he was like, oh, okay, thanks. Thank you, neighbor. So
there's something extremely disarming when someone tries to insult you and you thank them. It's, nice skirt, buddy. Thanks.
Yeah.
And you just stare at them.
Yep. Yep.
Just or you give them the crazy eyes, like, thanks.
I was hoping you'd notice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you doing later?
I did it for you.
Yeah.
The part of his story that kind of sticks out to me is the fact, the origin of it, the fact that I didn't know that about him, that the Scottish guy basically saying, like, yeah, it's fine, you don't have to be an American to wear jeans or whatever. That to me speaks volumes, A, of Scotland, B, of to the concerns, the fears that a lot of Americans have when they first, especially Americans, Canadians, Australians, whatever, non-Scots, the first time they want to wear a kilt. It's the, is this cultural appropriation? Should I not wear this? It's like, for the majority, the vast majority of Scots that we know, personally or business related, don't care, don't mind. I think it's awesome. It's just part of who you are, part of what you do and you getting out and just experiencing a different culture, experiencing your own heritage, and living with it and keeping it alive and keeping it moving forward. Will there be jerks? Yes. Will there be gatekeepers who say, well, you're not Scottish, you're not allowed? You know what? Give them some of that.
Well, bless their hearts.
Yes, bless their hearts, as Kurt Kinnaman would say. Yeah. But I love the fact that so many people love the fact that we're wearing kilts. Yeah. It's heartening.
And I think, Jonathan, if you're watching, I don't know I would assume you've gotten the same reaction, but I've seen a lot of people react very positively to what he's done with the Great Kilt. We've seen a huge escalation in Great Kilt sales, and it's just become a much more popular thing because people have found a way to integrate it into daily life, not just like going to Ren fairs and stuff. And I admire, Jonathan, I really admire you. I admire his scientific approach to this, that form follows function. And he said that basically, all the trimmings and all the stuff, and especially like the military styles and decorations that we think of, the elements of the highland costume, came later. At some point back in time, this was just a thing that a guy going out to live his daily life in the boonies was wearing. So what was that like? How was that something that worked for him? So everything he's done has been to try and emulate that, and I think that's awesome. It's primal. And you'll hear me say primal a lot on this show, but I think it's important.
Yeah. So. I'm going to go back to one other thing I said.
I want to toast Jonathan before we get too far off. So
sorry.
Thank you, Jonathan, for being you.
Absolutely.
Keep on keeping on. Everybody who wears a kilt is a different person. Everybody who wears a kilt has a different story. What's yours? Tell us in the comments about the times that you feel you've inspired other people because of your actions as a kilted man in this modern world. In the meantime, if you want to see some of the videos about other ambassadors, check out this playlist over here. And I hope you have a great day and inspire somebody.